Well, Easter is just a few short days away, and you gotta have something sweet to go along with all that fantastic Easter food. And so today I'm gonna be sharing just a few sweet treats that I think will be a fun thing to add to your Easter festivities. So whether you're hosting a brunch or a lunch or dinner, or maybe you're having people over for a fun Easter egg hunt, these are sweet treats that'll be fun to share with the people that you love, and everyone will enjoy them. Well, if we haven't met before, my name is Ange. Welcome, and this is the Menu Made Kitchen. You know, unlike Thanksgiving or Christmas, we usually have like traditional things that we make for sweet treats, like pumpkin pie for Thanksgiving, or like Christmas time, we have a lot of Christmas goodies sitting around. But usually Easter time, it's different every year. And so maybe these are recipes that you've had before, maybe they're different or unique to you. So I'm so excited to share these with you. I think you're really going to enjoy them. I think they'll be a fun addition to your Easter celebrations. All right, if you have never had strawberry pizza, you're definitely in for a treat. This is a recipe that was out of my mom's cookbook that I've shared in other videos. It's just such a simple recipe. It's so delicious. It's perfect for like summertime, but I thought it would be a fun kind of springtime dessert, Easter dessert that would be really delicious. So we're gonna start with our strawberries. I've got about a cup or so of cut up strawberries, and then I also reserved just about 4 or 5 strawberries, and I sliced them pretty thin because this will go on top. But I need to get these berries kind of mashed, and then we're gonna add them to our saucepan, and I'll add some sugar and cornstarch, and we have to cook that down a little bit to create kind of a thick sauce. So I'm gonna get these mashed, and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so as you can see here, we're not going for like perfect. I don't want these completely mashed. You still want there to be some texture, but they will continue to kind of soften as we add the sugar, and then of course cook them on the stove. So I'm gonna add these to the pan here. And then we're gonna add in a 1/4 cup of just granulated sugar. And then to help thicken our sauce, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. So we'll just stir all this together. And I'm going to put this on my stove on like a medium-low heat and just let it come to a simmer. And basically, I'm just going to cook it until the sauce is thickened and the berries have softened. So it'll probably take about 10 minutes or so from start to finish. Okay, while our strawberries are cooking and thickening, we're gonna make our pizza crust. This is a really simple crust ingredient. It's so good, nice and buttery. So we've got 1 cup of all-purpose flour. I'm gonna add in a 1/4 cup of powdered sugar or confectioner sugar. And then we have 1 stick of softened butter. So it's kind of funny, the recipe in the cookbook that my mom gave us, it calls for margarine. I grew up probably most of my life, childhood, eating margarine, and then my mom switched over to just butter. And that was so hard for me because I really liked the taste of margarine, but now I can't even imagine going back. Like, butter is everything. So I'm just going to stir this together until basically kind of a dough forms. I'm kind of half wondering, because it's been a long time since I've made this recipe, if you're supposed to melt the butter and then put it into the flour. But it just said 1 cube of margarine, but I think it'll come together. And once we pat it out onto our pizza pan, I think it'll be just fine. Oh yeah, it's starting to come together. It just needed a little TLC, a little love. Okay, that looks good. You really just want it to come together, kind of like Play-Doh. Okay, so I've just got a really basic pizza pan here. I actually picked this up at Walmart for $1.86. I mean, how often can you find something for like under $5? So I was super excited about that. So I'm just gonna add my dough here to the pizza pan, and I'm gonna try and spread it out as much as I can to the edge. I don't want this crust to be too thin, but it will rise a little bit in the oven. So we'll just add that right there. I'm just going to kind of bring it together so it's one solid piece, and then we can kind of pat it out. And this is a non-stick pizza pan. If you don't have a pizza pan, or you don't have the ability to run to Walmart real quick, you can definitely spread this out like on a sheet pan. This takes a little bit of muscle for sure. This is the workout part of this recipe. Okay, I think that looks good. And then I'm just gonna go around the edges and just make sure that there's a little bit of a lip on the edge. Again, I'm not going for perfection. I just wanna make sure that this is just one solid piece and it doesn't have any crumbs that will break off in the oven. All right, I think that that is ready to go into the oven. So I have it set at 325 and I'm gonna cook it for 15 minutes, basically until it's golden brown and kind of puffed a little bit. Okay, so for our cream cheese mixture that's gonna go over the top of the crust, I'm gonna add to this bowl a block of cream cheese. I've got 8 ounces here. This is softened. And then we're gonna do a half a cup of powdered sugar and about a half a teaspoon, probably a little bit more, like a teaspoon of vanilla. I'm gonna add it to the bowl here, and then I'm just gonna take my hand mixer and mix it all up until it's nice and whipped and creamy. All right, check that out. That is perfect. It's nice and creamy and soft. It'll be perfect for spreading over the pizza crust. All right, so our pizza crust is cooled and so are the strawberries. As you can see, it just gets super, super thick. So it's perfect for when you add it to the top. So the first thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna spread this cream cheese mixture over the top of the crust, basically just in a nice even layer. I probably have more cream cheese than I need, but we'll kind of see. My husband likes extra cream cheese, so I'll probably use all of it. And I like to leave just a little tiny border around the crust, that way it doesn't spill over. Okay, next I'm just gonna place my berries on top of the sauce. This doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just gonna kind of make a little circle around, and then I'm just gonna place some of the blackberries in between the strawberries. And then you can do this one of two ways. You can do this 3 different ways. You could, before putting the strawberries and the berries and the blackberries on, you can do a layer of Cool Whip over the top. But I decided to put the berries down, and then I'm just gonna kind of put dollops of Cool Whip on top of the berries. I don't really want a thick layer of Cool Whip. You can also do like the squirt Cool Whip to make it easier, but this is just what I had. So I'm gonna use 2 spoons here, just 2 small spoons, and I'll just take a little dollop. I'll just take a little spoonful out of the whipped cream, and I'm just gonna add it right to the top there. So I'm just gonna add little dollops all over the top. I just think it looks kind of fun and pretty, so. Okay, isn't that so fun? I just think it's so beautiful. It just looks like a plate of sunshine to me. And it smells so good, like fresh berries, kind of like summertime. Oh my word. Okay, like I said early on in the video, if you've never had strawberry pizza before, it is absolutely heavenly. It's so light, like that kind of that sugar cookie crust with the cream cheese and the berries, and I love just that little bit of Cool Whip on top. If you decide to take this for Easter, or even just making this for a fun after dinner dessert, your guests are gonna love it. You're gonna love it. Your kids are gonna love it. You wanna try it, honey? This is gonna wake him up.
Didn't I wear this last time?
All right, hubby's gonna try it here. Do you remember my mom used to make this?
I don't.
Oh.
I love that crust.
I knew you'd like the crust.
The crust is probably the best part.
Can you taste the cream cheese?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And the whipped cream. And, oh, it's just decadent.
You guys definitely have to try this. You'll have to let me know what you think, and if you maybe put some other berry combinations on there. It's so delicious.
Can I have a bite now?
Mm-hmm. Oh, you can have it. Okay, well, I just think that this spring Chex Mix is so much fun. It's festive, and I just love all the like, pastel colors that I use in this recipe. So we got to start with our Chex Mix, and I've got 6 cups of rice Chex. You can use any of the cereal that you like, but this is just what I am going to use for this recipe. So I'm going to add in 6 cups to my large bowl here. We're going to add in 4 cups of Honey Nut Cheerios. I'm also going to add in 1.5 cups of roasted and salted peanuts. And I'm going to toss this together, and then we're going to make our butter sauce. All right, and I've cubed up 1 stick of butter. I'm going to add this to my bowl here. And I'm going to pop this in the microwave until it's melted, and then we're going to add in our sugar and vanilla. All right, and I'm using 1/2 cup of packed brown sugar. And then I'm going to be adding 1.5 tablespoons, probably a little bit more than 1.5 tablespoons because I love vanilla extract, to the brown sugar and butter. Okay, and I'm just going to stir this until the sugar starts to dissolve and this is all well combined. All right, and that's basically what you want it to look like, nice and thick. All right, and I'm just going to bring my Chex Mix back over here, and we're going to add all of this butter and brown sugar mixture. Okay, and we're just going to fold all of this together. I usually stir this for a good, like, almost 5 minutes because I want to make sure that I've got all of the cereal and the Cheerios and peanuts are well coated with this kind of sugary, buttery sauce. So we've got our sheet pan here. I've lined it with some parchment paper just to make cleanup easier. We're going to add this mixture to our pan, and I'm going to bake this in the oven at 275 for about an hour. I'm going to stir it every 15 minutes or so. We just want it to get nice and toasty. I'm just going to spread this out into a nice single layer. And the fun part hasn't even gotten here yet. We're going to be adding some really fun, like spring candies to this to make it look really festive. This is just such a fun snack to have on hand, not even for Easter, but just for springtime. You can kind of grab a handful as you get like a hankering for something sweet and crunchy. It's so, so yummy. All right, I'm gonna get this in the oven, and then once it's baked and cooled, we're gonna add our candies, and then we get to taste it. So our Chex Mix baked in the oven for an hour. I stirred it, like I said, every 15 minutes, and now it's nice and toasty. I mean, I could eat this just like this at this point. It is just so delicious. It has kind of like a marshmallowy flavor. It is the best like little snack to have. Okay, but we're not done here. We're gonna add some fun ingredients. So I've got a cup of chocolate M&M candies. These are obviously the Easter edition, those pastel colors. That's kind of what I'm going for. And then I'm also gonna do some candy corns. I actually don't like candy corn, but in the Chex Mix with that crunchy and the chewy, it is so, so good. It's the only way I'll eat candy corns. And then I also found some really fun, like pastel frosted pretzels that I thought would be really pretty in here. And I'm actually gonna break them up so that we don't have like huge pieces of pretzel. So those are the 3 candies I'm gonna add, but you can really get creative with this. There's so many fun Easter candies out there. You do wanna make sure before you add any of the candy that this is completely cooled. Otherwise, if you put anything in with like a frosting or chocolate, it's gonna melt, which isn't like a terrible thing. It all tastes good. But in terms of like presentation, you wanna make sure that this is completely cooled. So I'm gonna get all my candies in here. We're gonna mix everything together, and I'm gonna put it in a fun bowl that I found at Walmart a couple of years ago that I think is so appropriate. And then we get to taste it. All right, check this out. Isn't that so fun? I feel like I have to eat my own words though, because I did not wait until it was completely cooled, and so some of the pretzel frosting kind of melted a little bit on the Chex Mix, but you know what? It'll just create like these little clusters of goodness that I think will be really fun. You hear that crunch? I love that vanilla flavor. That almost 2 tablespoons is definitely necessary, so don't be scared by that. It's going to be perfect. All right, now I'm going to get some pretzel and a little candy corn in there. This, it's highly addictive. Usually what I do if I'm going to be hosting company over, I'll set out like those little tiny clear cups that you can buy just like at Walmart, and then you can just, everybody can scoop their own little bit into the little cups, and people can kind of walk around and mingle and snack on this stuff. You will not be disappointed if you add this to your Easter dessert table or little snack table. It's fantastic. Okay, so if you are a big fan of Oreos like I am, then this recipe is definitely for you. It is so chocolatey and it has tons of Oreo flavor. It is just awesome. So we have to start by crushing our Oreos first. So I'm going to add about 34 Oreos to my food processor here, and we're just going to crush them basically until they're fine crumbs. If you don't have a food processor, just throw them in a Ziploc bag, and you can use a mallet or a super heavy spoon and just bust them up as best you can. So I'm going to get these in here, and we're going to turn them into almost to the point where they're fine crumbs, and then I'm going to add some melted butter and combine that, and then we'll add this to our 9 by 13 inch baking dish. All right, and then I've got my 9 by 13 inch baking dish here. I did spray it a little bit with nonstick cooking spray just because I wanted to make sure that this did not stick to the bottom. So I'm just going to add all of my Oreo crumbs to my pan here. I mean, I could eat this just by itself. It is so yummy. And then I'm going to take my clean hands and I'm just going to spread this mixture out and basically just create a layer of crust. All right, that looks pretty good. The thing I love most about this recipe is we don't have to bake anything, but I am going to pop this in the refrigerator while I get the rest of my ingredients together, just to make sure that it kind of sets up a little bit and it doesn't fall apart when I go to cut into it. Okay, and we're going to make our cream cheese mixture now. I've got an 8-ounce block of cream cheese, and then I'm also going to add 4 more ounces. We like it to be a little heavy on the cream cheese flavor, so I like to add just that little bit more. And this is softened cream cheese. You want to make sure it's really soft. And then I'm going to add in 1 cup of confectioner's sugar. Okay, and I'm just going to take my hand mixer here, and we're just going to mix the cream cheese and sugar up until it's nice and creamy. Now that this is all mixed up, I'm going to take my Cool Whip here, and we're going to use half of this for the cream cheese filling. If I can get it open. So I'm just going to add half of it in here, and then we'll add the other half on top when we finish layering the chocolate and the cream cheese mixture. So that looks like about half. And you just want to fold this in. We want to maintain kind of that fluffiness with the whipped cream. It doesn't have to be perfect, just kind of fold it until it's nice and combined. All right, we're gonna set this aside, and now we're gonna get our chocolate pudding mixture mixed up. All right, and then for our pudding mixture, I'm using 2 3.9 ounce boxes of instant chocolate pudding mix. And then I'm also gonna use 3 cups of just regular milk. So I'm gonna add these little packets here to my bowl. We'll add the milk, and then I'm gonna take my hand mixer again and mix this up until the pudding starts to thicken. And then we get to assemble our lasagna. Okay, I pulled my chilled crust out of the refrigerator, and I'm gonna start by adding our cream cheese mixture. I just kind of dollop, or just throw it over the top, but I just dollop little sections on the top, and then we'll just gently spread it out with our spatula. You just want to be really careful here, because if you push too hard, then you're going to pull up the crust. And actually, I think I'm going to get a smaller spatula for this. I've got this one. I think this will be much better. Then I can get into the corners a little easier. So just do your best to kind of spread this out as evenly as possible. Okay, and then we're going to add our chocolate pudding over the top. You can see it's thickened as it sat. Even just 5 minutes, it's super thick now. So I think I'll just dollop the top again like I did with the cream cheese. Then we'll spread this out. Okay, looks so good already. And then we're gonna add the remaining of this Cool Whip. All right, and then the last thing to add is I've got 10 Oreos here. I'm just gonna use my hands to kind of break them up into little chunks, and then I'm gonna scatter them over the top of this Cool Whip. We've got to pop this in the fridge, unfortunately, for at least an hour to let everything set, to make sure that when we cut into it, it doesn't all fall apart. But after that, we're gonna taste it. Okay, check that out. I mean, this is gonna be so fantastic. That was the longest hour of my life waiting for this. This is just very exciting. Chef's kiss all the way. That buttery Oreo crust on the bottom with that cream cheese. That's all I need. Just give me those 2 items. This is such a fantastic dessert. Whether you make this for your upcoming Easter plans or just make it for somebody special or just yourself, because you are special, you will not regret it. It's an absolutely delicious and easy to make dessert, perfect for any occasion, in my opinion. Well, I am so excited for you to try these recipes. I hope you feel inspired. I hope that maybe some of these recipes are new to you, and you'll have to let me know if you try them. And if you missed my Easter side dish video, make sure to check that out. There's some awesome side dishes if you're looking for something last minute. Make sure to subscribe if you're new here. I'd love for you to be part of my YouTube family, and also tap the bell that will notify you every time I post a new video. I hope that you have a really blessed week, and we will see you next time.